Vaikunta. So, but there are still special places. This is Tucson, very special. It was very interesting. The day I took off to go to India, November 5th, I think, something like that, just happened to be election day. Wow. Can you imagine how I felt? I'm on the plane and all that election stuff is so far behind me. I don't even know what's going on, you know. Sometimes I could even forget who was running. So by the time I hit Calcutta, you know, dial into the local network, and I'm starting to get messages. This guy won. This guy won. Wow, wow, wow. So immediately, the messages were some real happy and some really sad. Oh, no. It was kind of like 50-50. I'm thinking, you got intelligent people over here, intelligent people over here. These people are ecstatic. These people act as if their lives have just been stolen. There's some insanity here somewhere, right? Because America is still America. Everything is still as it was. But because someone told you this guy won, you're either going to be very happy or very sad. Now, isn't that a little silly, you think? Nobody's agreeing. It is silly. Okay, there you go. I like that. Sometimes you got to use a little force, you know. So yeah, it's just plain silly the way we be. So we've got half the world on this or half the world on that side. It's amazing how many people in other countries approve of what happened. So maybe some people would say, well, we don't like those people anymore. What does they call that? The cancer culture? Cancel. Well, there's cancer. So yeah, if we don't like what you believe in or who you vote for, we're just going to cancel you. We're going to see that your business dries up, and we're going to try to do bodily harm. So I'm noticing certain traits that we living entities have. And, you know, it's a little disappointing to see how we can misbehave sometimes. So, however, it's like I always say, if we take a picture of this group, and it's a beautiful group, if we take a picture of this group, and you're in the group, and then we pass the picture around, who's the first person you're going to look for? Number one, numero uno, right? You can't help that. We're a little self-centered. We want to be the center of our universe. And if you think I'm the center of your universe, then maybe we've got something in common. You know, so we're a little self-centered. We're quick to attack our fellow man if they disagree with something pretty trivial, you see. And then I was thinking about that, and I read an article, which is, let me see, okay. The title of the article was Collective Solidarity. Has anybody heard of that term? It's a real thing, and you'll recognize it. Collective solidarity. Although we argue with each other, and I can think you're a little crazy because who you did or did not vote for. And I can try to cancel you out if I don't like your political beliefs. And although you have freedom of speech, I don't want you to say what you're saying, and I want to subdue that. So that's sounding kind of nasty, except when people come to this collective solidarity is when people come together and support one another during a disaster. It's often referred to as collective solidarity or community resilience. Have you noticed that? When there's a sudden disaster, well, I don't know who you voted for. I don't know. I'm not thinking about your color, your creed, your religion. Right away, hey, let's help each other. So we see that. This describes a shared sense of purpose and cooperation that emerges in the face of adversity. people will pull together and try to help one another. We've seen that. Tsunamis, war, people pull together. We look out for each other. Another thing that was happening right after I got to India is Los Angeles was burning down. And I was, again, surprised, happy to see the collective solidarity amongst people in that region come together. Why hotels were opening their doors. If you've been displaced by this fire, come and stay here. You know, much of the time the rooms were free. People were taking people into their houses. It's like, wow, we've got to come to each other's aid now. So there is this collective solidarity that we have, where we really do want to look out for each other, but we really do want to criticize each other too, don't we? So this happens like neighbors helping each other, you know, volunteering, people donate resources. They do all kinds of things to happen. These moments highlight the strength and compassion of human connections, even in the most challenging times. Seems like the challenging times bring out a better side of us, doesn't it? So this concept of collective solidarity demonstrates an underlying nature that we living entities have that binds us together and causes us to help and care for each other when we're faced with a disaster or an emergent situation. We've seen this happen a lot. We've witnessed collective solidarity manifest throughout history in many common disasters. But how can we explain the existence of the collective solidarity phenomenon in a world full of self-interest where we want to be the center of the universe? How can we explain those two sides of us? So Krishna, as always, gives us the answer in Bhagavad Gita. Oh, wait, does everybody here have a Bhagavad Gita? If you don't have a Bhagavad Gita and would like a free one, hold your hand up right now. Huh? Nobody? Nobody wants? It's free, it really is.
They all have one.
They all have one. Wow. Good going. You got everybody to take a Gita. So, anyway, Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter, 7th verse, one of my favorite verses, probably yours too. Mamavam so jiva loke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha manaha sastra indriyani prakriti stani karshati. So Krishna is explaining why we have this feeling for each other, this feeling of compassion, although it's covered over. Krishna says the living entities in this conditioned world, that would be us, are my eternal fragmental parts. All living entity are eternally fragmental parts of Krishna. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So you've got six senses, including the mind. The mind is like the central processing unit that the other five senses go through, focuses through, the mind makes decisions. So, struggling very hard with your mind. The mind tells you that guy, I don't like him anymore because I found out he voted for that guy. So that's your mind being a little cuckoo, right? Because none of that doesn't matter. Because you are, like the rest of us, part and parcel of the Supreme Godhead. You really are, you see? So if I am part and parcel of God and you are part and parcel of God, isn't it a little silly for me to figure or calculate your worth as an individual based on which party, which illusory party you prefer? You know, isn't that, I mean, really, think about it. We can't let ourselves misbehave this way. We can't, you know? So we have to grab hold of a little bit of mature maturity. And this comes from spiritual understanding, which you get from reading the Bhagavad Gita, which you all have. Now that you have them, read. Krishna will tell you all the secrets, all of his secrets. He will reveal to you in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the explanation. We're all parts of and parcels of the source of love and compassion. That's what you really are. You're not a Democrat. You're not a Republican. I hate to break this news to you. You're not even a human being. You're a part and parcel of the Supreme Godhead eternally. So that means this explains that once we apply spiritual knowledge, we, the living entities, we start to see through spiritual eyes, you see? And we're not seeing through material eyes. Materially, I can see differences in color of skin, what religion, what church you go to, who you vote for, which kind of car you drive, whatever. We make all these material calculations and judge people, although hardly any of us will admit that we're judgmental. Well, I'm not judgmental. But have you observed yourself lately? Yes, you are. Materially, see? On the spiritual platform, how can we be judgmental? We're all part and parcel of the Supreme Godhead. We're all equal in the Lord's eyes, that's the true vision, you see. So, is this making any sense? Krishna gives us the answer. No, you are my part and parcel. Behave like it. Behave like that. See through spiritual eyes. How can you see through spiritual eyes? Intake spiritual knowledge, not just any spiritual knowledge. How about the direct words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That's kind of good to hear, isn't it? What did God say? It's in Bhagavad Gita. You see? So, put spiritual information into this mind, it starts to calculate based on a spiritual calculation. Spiritual decisions and spiritual words will come out of your mouth. You won't say, well, I don't like you because you didn't vote for him or her, or you won't misbehave that way anymore because you'll be working on a spiritual level, spiritual understanding. So I have to look and see. Oh, I've got some time. Wow. What are we going to do? I ran out of. All right, I don't have anything else to say. So is this making any sense? You see? Yeah. Omar.
I have a question. So it seems like all reality is Krishna, and then it seems like everything's already perfect. So then it can kind of make me feel like complacent. Like, all right, well, it seems like there are problems in the world. Like, people are starving, and like there's like thirsty people. But then Krishna's perfect, so then it's like it's hard to reconcile those two things. And it's like if you act on the platform of everything's perfect, and there's no like impetus to like do anything sometimes.
Yeah, but things aren't perfect, are they? I mean, things are. Krishna has given us all of his energy in the form of this material world. This is his energy. Everything is Krishna. This is Krishna. This is Krishna. The tile on the floor is all Krishna. It's part of his inferior energy, you see. So the biggest problem is that a lot of people, and I understand that I understand how we could try to see everything through positive eyes. Well, everything is good. The lion's running at you, but he's a nice kitty. The dog is coming, he's going to bite you, and oh, but he's just a nice dog. You try to see everything. Well, that's just not intelligent, because we all are sharing a disaster right now. Why aren't we pulling together in this disaster? And no, it's not the election. And no, it's not inflation. The disaster is that you're in this body. You're in this human body, you see, and it has a duration, and the clock is ticking. You're going to run out of time someday. That's a disaster. Now, we don't know when that's going to happen, so we have a tendency to put it off. Well, I need to do something about my next destination. I don't have to do it today, right? If there was a fire in the kitchen, you may think, I need to leave this apartment or this house. I don't have to do it right now, maybe tomorrow. Well, there's a fire there and we know. So death is coming. I don't want to sound like a real downer. It just is. It's not a big deal. You're an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Godhead. Nothing can possibly hurt you. You may have to leave this body a little quicker than you think, you see. But the positive side is you are part and parcel of the Supreme. And so is everyone else around you. And so there is a disaster that we're in this material world. This is a very dangerous place. I mean, just taking a Toto ride across Vrindavan can, and we were lucky we lived across, that we lived through that. You know, I don't know. Lucky we're just taking a Toto is an electronic rickshaw. So just in case some people, if you don't go to India, you don't know what does that term mean. So it's danger at every step, no matter where you are. It is a disaster. We could run out of time. We could run out of time in the next few minutes or the next few years. Some of you maybe in the next few decades. But this is a disaster. You have no control. No control over this. All you can do is cry for help. Somebody give me the truth. And this collective solidarity that we have, how come we're not all pulling together to help one another with this situation? How come I'm not offering my help to everyone that I meet for this? Where is my spiritual collective solidarity? Well, I'm willing to help you if your hair is on fire, I'll help you put that out. Or if your body is threatened, or if you're out of money. But what if you're out of spiritual knowledge and you really have no control of what the next life is going to be like? How come I'm not sticking my hand out to help you and say, take this Bhagavad Gita? Why am I defective like that? You see, because I see through life too much through these material eyes and not enough through the spiritual eyes. If we see through the spiritual eyes, we feel compassion for everyone. We want to help everyone. We want to take away the darkness at the end of the tunnel, you see. No, it's nothing but brightness, you see. You can actually have some control, a lot of control, on what your next birth is going to be and where it's going to be. So what are we doing to help each other with that situation? Maybe not enough. I know I'm not. So maybe you are, but I know that I'm not. So I'm thinking if we can have spiritual collective solidarity, we can work together to see that the entire world is enlightened with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. So we need to do that. Does that answer your question? That was a good question. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
Would you like to share your, where were you in India and any experience during your travels?
Wow, a lot of experiences. Yeah, I went first of all to Calcutta, spent a few days at our ISKCON Newtown Temple, which is near Calcutta. And then from there I went to Mayapur in Nadia district of West Bengal. And I was there for 4 months, something like that. I took a trip or two throughout West Bengal to go to Kalyani. There's some preaching and different things. Not as much as I wanted to because, you know, there's kind of like a little bit of a struggle with health. But I found that my American prescriptions when I get them filled in India, not only do they cost a fraction of what they cost in America, but the prescriptions seem to work better and they have fewer side effects. Now, I don't know what's going on. That's just personal experience. Says the same thing, here and you get it there, but it works better and there are fewer side effects. So I kind of played around with that and got to feeling better through not feeling bad from things that are supposed to help me. So
Krishna is stronger in India than here.
well, I wouldn't say that. Krishna is, India has some advantages. Some people think that preaching in India, oh, that's so easy. Well, I've preached to several college students in India, in West Bengal anyway. And I find that they're just as lusty for material advancement in India, maybe a little more so than even people in America. I mean, they want to get a good education and they're chasing the American dream. They're making it the Indian dream. Money, nice house and a big car and this and that, So to convince them to devote a large part of their time, hey, just go on and be as busy as you want to be. Just give me 2 hours a day chanting Hare Krishna. Can you do that? What? Huh? They don't want to. I mean, they may want to, but they start making excuses, even though they may know who Krishna is. You see, so it's not just because we're preaching in India doesn't mean it's easier. In some ways it is, in some ways it's not. So, and then we left and went to Vrindavan for 5 days. Delhi, we went to Delhi Temple for just a short overnight. So that's my trip, and I'm back here amongst all of you. So, any more questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, when I saw you in Lamport, you kind of came, and I was surprised that you told me what happened. The medication you were taking was working, but that the side effect, it made you your balance was bad.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate materially, but I know when I suffer materially, it helps you spiritually. Did you see that benefit there too?
Well, sometimes we get, when there's a little bit of, for want of a better word, desperation. I have got to change what's going on with this body. Maybe it's time for it to expire. I don't know. So then you have a tendency to say, hey, Krishna, can you help a guy out here? I'm not asking to make me healthy. Just give me some understanding. Health is going to be what it's going to be. But give me some understanding on how to deal with this, soberly and not lamenting, oh, I don't feel good and this is happening. No, none of that. Just, give me some real direction on how do I deal with it. So it will have a tendency to, I often say that old age has some advantages because you get convinced pretty much that you're not this body. Where does this come from? I look in the mirror and I have to do a double take. Who is this guy? Boy, I look at the reflection in the mirror and I think, wow, you're not doing well, are you? Oh, wait a minute. That's me. You see, so we're more and more convinced I'm not this body. We're more and more convinced I don't have the rest of my life. Well, I have the rest of my life, but there's not a lot to that. I need to make a move here and figure things out, get more serious about my spiritual life, you see. So there are advantages. It was a big help.
We tend to be complacent, so it shakes you out of your complacency.
Exactly. Exactly. And this complacency is something that's just natural, but we have to help each other, shake each other out of it. We need to help each other like that. So we need to point out to other folks that we know and care for, we're in a disaster situation here. we're running out of time. The things that we hold important in our lives probably aren't that important. Who's the president or who's not, that is really not important, because it's changed back and forth for so many years. And you know what? Here we are. Things are going on. I don't know if anybody makes a really big difference, although they all say they're going to. We're still here suffering in these material bodies. The only thing that will change that is if we get some spiritual knowledge, some real spiritual knowledge, not speculative spiritual knowledge, but real spiritual knowledge. If we get enough of it, we start to speak it, and others will hear it. They'll start to speak it. We're helping each other with spiritual katha, spiritual talk about Krishna. So, good questions. I keep looking at my watch because I can't see the clock back there.
You have 4 minutes. You have another question.
Tatyana, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, very nice talk today. Quick question on what is the best way for us to come together and be in that compassion and love during this time?
We have to hear. We have to hear. Hearing can be reading or hearing someone speak, not just anybody. We need somebody with some spiritual authority and real good knowledge. We need to hear. As my godbrother Vaisheshika Prabhu says, we need to hear. We need to hear a lot. We need to hear a lot every day. So we need this input of Krishna consciousness, you see. We need to chant. We need to chant a lot. We need to chant a lot every day. We can't put our spiritual life on the back burner, even when we're young. Although we tend to think like that. I can always do this, or I can always do that. For now, I've got to make it through the day. Don't let yourself do that. So we've got to chant, and we've got to hear. And we need to associate with other people who want to better themselves spiritually, sincerely. And not just grab whatever the latest fashion is to believe in, but actual knowledge. It should appeal to your intelligence. When you hear the right thing, it's going to appeal. You're going to say, yes, that's right. That's obviously right. Bhagavad Gita is like that. You feel, yes, this is absolutely correct. So we need that, not somebody's speculation or their opinion. So we need to hear, and we need to chant a lot every day with people that are on the same path back to Krishna. You see? So we need that. That has to become number one in what we do for ourselves. And everything else will be fine. Good question. Is that a good answer? You're that lady that just had the beautiful wedding in Mayapur. Did everybody see the link that she, somebody really, wasn't that great? This Russian devotees, photographers, they were the Russian devotees that were doing that, weren't they? I mean, it was so professionally done. I thought, wow, it was really very nice. So congratulations to the two of you. So, all right. Anything else? So let's get up and chant together. We've been hearing together. Now let's chant together. And then we'll take prasadam. We'll eat together. So we're just doing nothing but spiritual development today. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.